Everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 Hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally to further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant-based diet going for yourselves today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and to get with alkalinity, then you can generate some static electricity. Sending me some love telepathically, set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to great days. So today I wanted to talk about rebirth and death. Okay, so let's get into this. Um, so rebirth and death, both of these are part of nature, right? These are incredibly natural and inevitable. They're part of the design. So, death, we've been taught about death, we've been told about death, but we don't actually understand death to be what it actually is, right? Because we've conceptualized death from misunderstanding. So we don't actually understand what the phenomena of death is. Um, so we can't conceptualize it, right? It's something, or death doesn't actually exist, right? More so it's a phase of transformation that's taking place, right? Or the shedding of the body. See, when you shed the body, there's still something that is shedding the body, right? The soul, or whatever you want to call it, has to shed the body. So it's like a snake that sheds its skin. You know, when a snake is shedding its skin, there's a rebirth. There's a type of rebirth taking place because the snake is shedding the old, and it's able to renew itself because it has a new coat of skin, or it has new skin, right? So that's a renewment, and it's the same thing. You're shedding the body. That's a renewment in place. There's not death. Isn't a death may be a cessation. It is a cessation, but it's not what we've been told it is, because it's been exaggerated, right, and misunderstood, and taught to us wrong, so that we disconnect from the nature of things, and that we slowly disconnect from the soul, right? So just like a snake sheds its skin, when you die, you shed the body. The body is just that outer coat of skin, or it's just like a vehicle that we're using to work on the corresponding dimension, right? And when you shed it, you're just shifting into another dimension of consciousness. So, because you're shifting in a dimension of awareness, and there is a continuation in place, then the life itself is eternal, it's everlasting, right? But the body degrades, and it may not be able to function. But another aspect of you is able to shed the body, right? And then it can get complex from that aspect, or that facet, right, of you. So um, so the rebirth process happens when you die, right? There's obviously rebirth these can happen throughout your life. You can die throughout your life multiple different times. You can die, and you can be reborn throughout your this lifetime. And these you can consider them just as vivid as the death or the degradation of the physical body, right? If you're in a certain level of sensitivity to it, right? Or if you've dissolved away the boundaries enough of the physical body, then you can go through multiple deaths within the lifetime of this individuality, right? And you can experience them just as real as the actual shedding of the body, right? And then with each one of those deaths comes a rebirth, and everybody has one of these in their life. Um, and when you come to be reborn, it's an expansion of awareness that comes to you. You can become a completely different person, right, from one day to the next, because you died in a dream or something like this. It doesn't have to necessarily be a dream. It can be an experience out in waking reality, and you don't necessarily have to die from car crash, or you don't necessarily have to die from murder or homicide, right? Anything that leads to let's say a rebirth had to come with some type of death, right? You could have died in a dream. Let's say somebody killed you in your dream, and you were able to stay aware of that, and you were able to experience the whole thing, and you were hypersensitive to it, and you thought it was real, and you just got completely caught in that, right? And you could not distinguish between waking reality and the dream and the astral, right? And you wake up a completely different person. That's a type of rebirth. um these are always happening because you're always dying, and death is not what you think it is, because what you think death is a misconception, because death isn't conceptual. Or maybe it is, right? It's paradoxical. It can go back and forth. But the rebirth is being reborn, right? You can die in meditation, which is just a transformation. You meditate enough to the point where you have a transcendental experience. You can OBE, or you can dissolve the boundaries of the body, or you can distance yourself into samadhi, satori, right? And you transcend the body, the bodily experience. That's shedding the body. So that's death. And if you're able to return to the body, which most cases you are, then you can take what you learned from leaving the body consciously, and you can use it for transformation. That's when the rebirth happens. So you died, you transcended the body, the bodily experience, and you easily understood with clarity that you exist without the body. So you're beyond the body. And this is for everybody. So when you return, you're able to use that new perspective that you had, that experience, to develop yourself in a completely new way, right? That's a rebirth. You're being reborn. People who have been in war, they can you know, they can be on the verge of death, or they can literally die, but they come back to life. That transforms their life. But it doesn't have to be a physical experience. Once again, it can happen in your imagination, and it can lead to the same rebirth. It's just the sensitivity to it, you know. It can happen in your dreams, and it can lead to the same thing. It's just however sensitive you are to it, how immersed you are within that experience of dying, you know. But death is always happening, right? Especially in your dreams, death is always happening. Um, Death is always happening in the waking reality as well. Though you try to keep it in the peripheral, so that the ego and the subconscious won't panic, you know. But it's always happening. And if you're able to use that, if you're able to entrance yourself or use death, use the death as an entrance or as an entrance, you can you can come too deep in the understanding of what rebirth is, right? And if you do it enough, you can transcend the lifetime, right? And maybe even reincarnation, which is being reborn into another life, another physical vessel, which is the case, right? Because we do this, we reincarnate over and over until we grow as souls enough to the point where we're able to liberate ourselves from the process of reincarnation, right? And that's for everybody. Everybody's in that, right? So that's what everybody's doing. Everybody is growing in that direction to be able to transcend the process of reincarnation, right? So that they can enter into a new dimension of consciousness. Otherwise, if it wasn't like this, there would be nothing, right? So, rebirth is being reborn. Very simple. Reborn as an eternal life, as an Etherean, or as a soul, even, right? Not necessarily an Etherean, but just a soul. Coming to the experiential understanding that you are a soul, which is immortal, or a soul is eternal in its nature. The soul is the eternal aspect of our being. So once you come to experience life as a soul, not a body or a mind, you've experienced a rebirth. And you can recognize people who are living within that perception, right? On site, like you can recognize them on the street. They have a type of glow to them, right? You can tell people who are caught in the netting, and then the rebirth or the reborn, right? So the expansion of awareness is the rebirth. When you die, you shift into a higher level of awareness because you're shedding the body, which is vibrating at a lower level of awareness. Simplified, right? So when you die, or when the body degrades and you begin to shed it, you start vibrating at a higher and higher frequency because you're shifting into a higher vibrational frequency of consciousness, a higher dimension of consciousness, where you are currently, presently residing, right? Because there's no time. Timelessness is the essence of life, and everything is existing here in the present moment. So all realities, all space-times, all space-time continuums, or the space-time continuum is the eternal now, the present, right? And you need to experience it. You need to experience it to be able to click, to be able to flick, turn the switch on. A lot of people can't see that because they're not turned on to it. But that's the truth of it. That's how it actually is. So you got to open your mind. You got to open up the third eye, right? But death and rebirth, this is natural. This is part of life. Everybody inevitably dies. You're dying right now. Your cells are dying, right? They're being renewed. Like a snake is always, it sheds its skin every so often. So if in order to shed its skin periodically, that means its skin has to be dying all the time, right? But it also is renewing itself all the time. And it's the same thing. Your cells are you, because your cells are making your body up. So your cells are dying right now. The cells are being singed by this electromagnetic field from the phone, right? You can smell them. But they're also being renewed. And you also shed your skin as well, like a snake, but it doesn't happen like that. You don't shed the whole skin. It's just patches, right? Or if you scrub yourself in the shower, you're taking off all the dead skin like that, So it happens in segments where you're shedding your skin. But you're just one of those cells. Your entire body is just one of the cells, right? And all of us together are cells making up a larger body. So in this way, we're always dying, but you got to widen the electromagnetic field into the peripheral in order to open up the mind experientially to the alternative realities or the parallelities, in order to be able to experience your deaths, because you're always dying. Or you could lucid dream. Lucid dreaming, you're gonna definitely be able to experience the many different experiences of death that are happening to you, right? And the more that you're able to sustain your awareness through these experiences, you're able to expand your consciousness in a very integral direction, or a very integral dimension, right? That is inevitably going to allow you to touch upon eternal life. But that's going to be it for today's video. I do thank everybody for watching. Once again, peace out, one love, and have a great evening.